Let me stop sharing. Wait, do you have questions on that? There's actually wait before you ask a question. If you have a question,
Yeah.
there's two things, maybe three. One was how to get a number on the opposite side of an equation. That was one thing that we talked about, where you have to do the opposite sign. This was adding, so we subtracted to get it over. The other thing was taking these mixed numbers and changing them to improper fractions. That was this part. And then subtracting that. Actually, that's another piece. Subtracting fractions. You leave the bottom number the same because you're treating like 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, all the way up to 16/3 as one thing. And then the last part was converting the mixed number, or sorry, the improper fraction into a mixed number. There's a lot going on there, like a couple different, I guess,
Yeah, like
lessons. But I don't know. Do you want to keep going, or do you want to like ask a question? What do you want to do? Anything's cool.
oh, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
All
If
right.
I yeah, if I get super complicated, let me share mine. Keep it next.
I see it. Cool.
So this is the next one, I guess, right?
Which one of the equations are equivalent? Select three options. So let me write it down. So, oh, you had to check two? Oh, no, check
I
three of
think
them, right?
three.
So let me
Yeah, I
write them
saw
down
the
real
list of
quick.
them.
Equals 5. X plus 1 equals 4. 9 plus x equals 6. X plus -4 equals 7. -5 plus x equals -2. Okay. Can I share my screen? Yeah?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, go for it.
So it's saying three of them are equivalent. Yeah?
Yeah, three of them.
And we got to figure out which ones are which. All right. There's a bunch of different ways that you can do this, but it says the question was which. It says which three, but I'm just going to say which are equivalent because there could be more than three next time, or there could be only two next time. So which are equivalent? So the way that I would go about this is to make them look the same. So make them look the same. And the reason, or the way that I would make them look the same is by doing what we did over here, where you like solve for the variable, meaning like get the number over to the other side so that there's just a variable on one side. So that's what I'm going to try and do right now. We haven't gotten to like.
Are we starting with the first one on top?
Yeah, we'll start with this one. So if I wanted to get the first thing over, so 2 plus x equals 5. Do you know how you would get the x by itself?
I think you're gonna minus the 2, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
that one's a weird one. So you'd minus the 2. So this is a positive 2 minus the 2 cancels out. And then you just have the x. And then 5 minus 2 is 5, 4, 3. So we got x equals 3. So this is the same thing as x equals 3.
So that's it. That's it solved right there.
That's it solved. And I'm going to solve this one and see if it gives me x equals 3. I'm going to solve this one and see if it... Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That way they all look the same. Do you want to try the rest of them like on your own, and then we'll just check each other's answers?
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay. I'm doing mine on a separate on a piece of paper.
Yeah, go.
I guess the better instructions would be solve each.
This is the way you do them all the time. Is by like taking the x away and you just do the opposite of what.
Yeah. So when it's addition here or subtraction in the middle, these are the same steps. You do the opposite. So like,
Okay.
if I, so like for this one, x plus 1 equals 4. I'm going to do the exact same steps. So x plus 1 equals 4. So if I want to get the x by itself, I would subtract 1 from both sides of the equal sign. Sometimes I just say both sides, but what I mean is this is one side of the equal sign, this is the other side of the equal sign. So when I say subtract 1 from both sides, I mean from both sides of the equal sign.
Okay.
And then 1 or positive 1 minus 1 cancels out. It's nothing. So then I'm just left with x, and then 4 minus 1 is 3. So this is also x equals 3. So this one and this one mean the same thing. I'm going to take this one real quick. X plus 1 equals 4. It's the same one. I'm re-looking at that one just real quick. It could have been written like this, 1 plus x. Part of, like, some people get confused just because they don't know, like, is this a positive 1 or is this a plus 1 or a minus 1, or it doesn't have a sign in front of it. Anytime there's no sign in front of the number, it means it's positive. So if I still wanted to get the x by itself, I would subtract 1, because this one's like positive even though it's not written. It's just positive. And you would do it on both sides of the equal sign, so minus 1. And then you would be left with plus x equals 3. But plus x is the same thing as just regular x. If you don't put any sign in front of something, it's the same thing as putting a plus in front of it. So if it was switched around like that, that's just what I wanted to point out. So the next one, let's see what that is. So we're looking at 9 plus x. 9 plus x equals 6. So what would you do to both sides?
I would do the minus a 9, right?
Yeah. Because it's technically a plus 9, so you can do the opposite. Yeah. It's minus 9. So minus 9, perfect.
And then this one would be x equals minus 3.
Yeah. So this, because it has a minus, it's not the same thing as when there's nothing there. Because when there's nothing there, it actually means a positive, a plus. So this one doesn't work out. So this one, let's say, doesn't work. So definitely the first two, but we're supposed to select 3, right? So
the other one with the little, the minus 4, and it has the little abbreviations or whatever on the side.
So this is something that's common, like math notation. This means exactly the same thing as x minus 4. Those are the same. So
the functions don't have anything to do with
Yeah, it's the only reason because they don't want to write it like plus minus because that maybe looks bad. I don't know. That's just notation that they use. So, do you know what to do to both sides for this one?
But what I was going to actually, do you use still the -4?
Yeah, since these are the same, I think this one's easier to look at and decide. If you're trying to do the opposite operation, we have x minus 4. So then the opposite operation would be the plus 4. So, I mean, because we have two signs here, and it's like, which one do I use? But you just have to know.
So that the plus sign, that just goes away?
This one? Yeah.
Yeah.
So adding a negative is the same thing as just subtracting a number. So it's like if I do 3 plus -1, that's going to be the same thing as 3 minus 1. And the way that I visualize it is like 3, it doesn't have anything in front, so that means it's positive. So I have 3 positives, and then I'm combining, that's what the add means, I'm combining 1 negative, so I'm combining 1 negative, and so the negative and the positive cancel out. I'm left with 2, or positive 2. Same thing here. 3, if I have 3 positives, 1, 2, 3, and I'm taking away 1, well, actually, I just take away 1, and I'm still left with 2 positives. So, yeah, these mean the same thing. 3 plus a -1 or 3 minus 1. So that's why I just write it like that.
It's equivalent, right?
Yeah.
Should be x minus equals 3.
Well, actually, on this one, this is positive 7, right? Positive 7.
Yeah.
And we had to add. We're adding 4, so it'd be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that one doesn't work out. If we had x plus 4, that's I think why the answer is included, because some people would just, okay, it's a plus here, and then you'd subtract. Because on this one, you would subtract because you're doing the opposite of this sign. But that's not what it is. This is just a matter of recognizing that this notation is the same thing as this. And then this lets you know, okay, I have to do the opposite of this thing. So I have to add 4 to both sides. And since this has no sign in front of it, it would be a positive 7. So positive 7 plus 4, that's also positive 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this one is x equals 11. So that one also doesn't work. And they said there has to be 3. So then this one should also be it. But I'm just going to do it real quick because it's written differently. So this one should give us x equals 3. So let's see. On this one, it's again written weird, so that the rules that I've been telling you, they're kind of backwards. Because we are adding something to the x, but the thing that we're adding is a negative. So if I want to get the x by itself, I have to do something to this 5. And it's like, oh, wait, I'm adding this 5, but I'm adding a negative. And that's the same thing as x minus 5 equals -2. So that's the part that's confusing to a lot of people, just because, again, it's just different ways to write the same thing. So you got to just remember all the different ways to write it. So -5 plus x is the same as this. And if you have this, then you can see that you add 5 because you're doing the opposite of that. And then you do it to both sides. -5 plus 5 cancels out. So you're just left with x equals, and then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positives, right? Because it's a plus 5. and then 2 negatives. 1, 2. The negatives and the positives cancel out, so you're left with 3, and it's positive. X equals 2.
Cool. Yeah, because I always got confused with the little plus sign in there.
Mm-hmm. So let me. So like if you have x minus 3 equals 11, I'm making this up. This, I guess they would be. These are all the same. X minus 3 equals 11. Negative 3 plus x equals 11. X plus negative 3 equals 11. All those mean exactly the same thing. So I guess that's something to pay attention to. So like, yeah, this is all some kind of like things that they're testing you is some math, but also just notation as well. Because even if you know how to solve this, and if you don't know that it means the same thing as this, and you don't know that it means the same thing as this, then you get the question wrong, and then they think you can't solve that. So you got to know, the different ways that you can write the same thing. All right, what's the next one? All right. Jalissa earned $71.25 today. Jalissa is 71.25. Babysitting, which is 22.5 or 22.50, 22.50 more than she earned babysitting yesterday. So this is today. Okay, yesterday. The equation D plus 22.50 equals 71.25 can be used to represent this equation, where D is the amount Jalissa earned babysitting yesterday, which is an equivalent equation that can be used to find the amount Jalissa earned babysitting yesterday. All right, let me write these down real quick. 71.25. Plus 22.50 equals D plus 71.25 equals 22.50. D minus 22.50 equals 71.25. Okay. So I think we got it. I'm going to share.
You got them all down?
Yeah, I'll share mine. All right. Do you have any guesses on like what you would do to start out, or what you try?
Not actually. I don't.
Okay, so this one, what was the question at the very end? Did it say like which one is equivalent?
Yeah, D plus 22.50 equals 71.25 can be used to represent this situation, where D is the amount Jalissa earned babysitting yesterday, which is an equivalent equation that can be used to find the amount Jalissa earned babysitting yesterday.
So it's asking kind of the same question as the other one. It's like which one is equivalent? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
What I didn't write it down. What was the one in the problem? It said it can be represented by what?
Or B plus 22.50 equals 71.25.
All right. So it's saying this one can represent the situation, which one of these is the same thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we could, since it's asking the same question, we could just solve all of them and see which one works out, right?
Okay. Good.
I'm trying to think if there's a different way. There is kind of a different way, but I think that's the way I would do it. You just solve each of them. Do you get a calculator on this, or are you supposed to do it without a calculator?
Certain ones, yeah, I'm pretty sure you can. Let me see. Yeah, on certain tests I can. I can have nobody's watching me, you know.
Oh, okay.
They that's why I can like download this freaking. I can download like apps and go ahead and cheat.
Right. And
but
then
I'm not
just
learning anything. When somebody asks me, I'm not gonna pull out my phone, you know.
Right. So on this one, if you were to solve all of them and just see which one is the same as the green one, like that's one way to solve it. Do you want to try it, or you want to just watch me go through it? It doesn't matter to me.
I'll watch one and just follow.
Okay. So
Copy, yeah.
for the green, that's the one that they're giving us. I'm going to solve that. So again, on this one, I'm just going to say solve each. And let's do that here. So D plus 22.50 equals 71.25. So to solve, that means I want to get the D all by itself. So I do the opposite of this part. So I'm going to subtract 22.50, and I'm going to do that on both sides of the equal sign. So minus 22.
So you're doing the same exact thing.
Yeah, same steps as before. So that goes away because one is positive, one is negative. And I'm left with D equals, and then I guess 5 minus 0. I would just use a calculator, but if you're not supposed to use a calculator, then we could just go through the steps doing this because it takes me a long time. But
well, I can use a calculator. That's what I was thinking.
So then, is it 48.75? I'm gonna double check.
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's what I got on the calculator, yeah.
Okay. So then you're looking to solve this the same way and see if you get the same thing. And then you're looking to solve this the same way. Well, actually, this one's a little bit different. Because the whole point, the whole way we solve something is to get the variable all by itself on one side of the equal sign. So right here, the variable is already all by itself. All you have to do is just plug that into the calculator because you're not moving anything to the other side. So it's like 71.25 plus 22.50. Like that's not going to be 71 plus 22, 72 or $71.25 plus any positive amount. It's not going to get smaller. So this one we know doesn't work. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that one's 93.
Yeah, and so definitely not the same.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else that's that easy? No. Okay.
So the top one is pretty much the same thing.
Oh yeah, this one you could just subtract, right?
I can do the same exact thing. Yeah.
So what do you get on that one? I'm gonna do it. 71.25 minus 22.50 equals
48.75.
48.75. That's what we wanted. Just to make sure, or I guess for practice, for this one.
We can do the other ones, right?
Yeah. Like for this one, we could, if we were to get the variable all by itself, we would do the opposite to whatever numbers are on the same side. So I would subtract 71.25, subtract 71.25, and if I do that in my calculator, I'll get a negative number, 22.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely it's not going to be a positive. Like it's not going to be 48.75. It might
Yeah,
be
that one's wrong.
negative, but that's not what we want. We don't want negative 48.75. So that one's not going to work. And then here we would add 22.50 to both sides. 22.50.
That one.
And that's going to also be the same as this one, right? Because we're just adding them together. So that one doesn't work out. So it's that second one. I'm going to stop sharing. Does that make sense? So,
You hear me?
yeah.
Okay. Thought it was cutting off. We'll go to the next. We could just do it for an hour or whatever. Whenever the days that you can.
So I can do it
Okay.
whenever you need it, and I can do it for doesn't matter to me. I say we finish this. So you're gonna have to take the course after this, or like this is a pretest.
Yeah. So it's a pretest. So it's not gonna be I probably won't do well because it's about to end. So it's gonna still give me like lessons.
Right. So to me, this means that all of this stuff, it's like a mix of what you would be learning. Whereas, like when you get to those lessons, it'll be not like every problem's a different problem. It'll be more like this problem and then a lot more like it. So
Yeah.
let's just try and get as far as we can on this, and then we'll see like what you want to do tomorrow, the next day, or whenever.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So
Can you see my screen?
yeah, I got it. Noam solved the equation for k using the following calculations. Okay, so he did the opposite. He added to both sides. And then did he add it right? So 35 plus, let's check here. 10.35 plus 7.6. So something went wrong because when I did it in the calculator, 17.95. What error, if any, did he make? He should have subtracted 7.6 instead of adding it. No, I think he should have I think he should have added it because he's doing the. Here, let me write this down real quick and then I can show you on my screen.
The method, yeah.
All right, 6 minutes. Let's see.
It's all right. We can fail. That way I can go through the course and then
Right.
try to figure out stuff and learn more.
So that first option. Wait, can you see mine? No.
Yeah, I'm going right now.
Okay. That first option said he should have subtracted 7.6, but he was supposed to add 7.6 because he was supposed to do the opposite operation. So that first answer is incorrect. What does the second answer say?
The second one says he should have subtracted 10.35 from both sides.
Okay, so that's saying he should have taken this and subtracted it that way. But that would put more stuff next to the k. And the whole point of solving, or the steps are to get stuff away from the k or away from the variable. So that one's not right. What does the next one say?
He made a computation error when he added 10.35 plus 7.6.
I think that is true because when I do it in the calculator, I get 17.95.
And then the last one is he computation error when he added minus 7.6 and 7.
Wait, what does that last one say?
The last one says he made a computation error when he added minus 7.6 and 7.6.
So they're talking about this side. Well, he didn't make an error on that side because they cancel out and there's no other number. Like, so I think it's the third one. All right, maybe we could try one more.
Okay. I can also well, let's just go to this one.
Yeah, we'll figure out stuff afterwards.
I was gonna say I could have like paused it after everyone, but my dumbass.
Oh, you could. Oh, you could, huh?
Like I should have saved the next, but it's just
well. So it's the pre-assessment, so it doesn't like count for anything. So it's just showing you what.
No, it's a score.
All right, next one. After the bank cast a check, Maureen wrote for $60. Her balance was negative 14. The equation B plus negative 60 equals negative 14 can be used to represent this situation, where B is Maureen's balance in dollars before the check was cashed. Maureen attempted to solve the equation using the steps below. What error, if any, did she make? So let me write that down real quick. Oh, I see.
But she didn't do the the freaking. She should have added, right?
Right. Yeah, she did the same sign. It's a negative 60 already, and she did negative 60 and then a negative 60. So, which answer is that one? Marine's work is correct? No. It's the second one, right?
Marine should have added 60 to both sides.
Yeah. Because remember, B plus negative 60 is the same thing as B minus 60, which means if you're going to do the opposite, it's got to be plus 60. Yeah, so it's that second one.
Right. We'll go to the next one then.
Mm-hmm. What is the solution? Okay, let me write that down, and I think we can do it. A plus 8/3 equals 2/3. All right, let me share mine.
Let me get the answers for you. Oh, I guess I can just
Yeah, you'll just click it, I think.
Here we go.
All right. So on this, it's the same thing. To get the variable by itself, you do the opposite. So I'm going to minus 8/3. So 8/3 minus 8/3 cancels out. And I have to do it to both sides. So if I have, I'm going to call this thing a third. 1/3, 2/3. And I'm taking away 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are also thirds. But if these ones are negative because of that, and these ones are positive because it's a positive there, I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they're negative, so negative 6/3. I'm guessing they have you convert it. Is that an answer? Or
yeah.
No? Oh, it is an answer?
There is A equals 10 minus 10/3. A equals minus 2. A equals 2, and A equals 10.
So on this one comes out evenly. Negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. Like 6 divided by 3 is 2. So if it's negative, then it's negative 2. Yeah.
We can do one more. It's probably going to cut off.
Yeah, we can see.
That works. At least you can see what it'll have me do next.
Right. What is the solution? A.
Oh shit!
Oh, you didn't.
Oh, no. All right. Well, we'll go to the next assessment. But look at that! I got an 80%.
All right.
It's just because those last two I didn't get. So.
Oh, is that for just for the lesson?
Yeah, that's just for the lesson.
Okay.
So this is a pretest. You will be. Oh, I should have already.
You'll be able to skip the lesson if your results show you mess with this topic or maybe.
Sorry. All right, so this is another one they're trying to give me now. This is a pretest. You will be able to skip a lesson if you use. But this one we can actually just go through it, and then I can pause it.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, I don't know if I'll be able to pause it because I have to get it. I have to submit a question. But whatever, it's the same thing as long as we work through it. So
Yeah.
that's all I care.
Malia split up the large container of salsa that she bought equally into 5 bowls to place around her house for the party. If each bowl contained 8.5 ounces of salsa, which shows the correct equation and value of X, the total amount of salsa in the original container. Oh, geez. Those are semicolons?
Yeah. What does that have to do with this?
All
right.
I think it's supposed to be like there's an equation and also then the answer when you solve the equation. Malia split up the large container of salsa that she bought equally into 5 bowls. Okay, if you split up something, that's the same thing as like dividing it. Like if you split it into 2, it's like dividing it into 2. If you split it into 5, you're dividing it by 5. So the equation will be one of the first two, x divided by 5. Because she's dividing it into 5 things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's got to be one of the first
Either
two.
One.
I think. But I haven't read the rest of it and tried to make sense of it, so let me think. Into 5 bowls to place around her house for the party. If each bowl contained 8.5 ounces of salsa, which shows the correct equation. Okay, so we got 5 bowls. Each has 8.5 ounces, which shows the correct equation. And the total amount. Okay. Here, let me share my screen. So they're saying she splits it up into 8 bowls. She splits up all of her salsa into 8 bowls, or sorry, 5 bowls. And each bowl has 8.5 ounces. How can I explain this? Okay, so what they're saying is she has X ounces of salsa. And that's like the total amount of salsa. So perhaps we don't know what that is. If we were trying to figure it out and write an equation, we would say, okay, the thing we're trying to figure out is X. That's going to be the total amount of salsa that she has. Then, if each bowl, after she split it into 5, it has 8.5 ounces in it, then you can say the total amount of salsa after she split it into 5 gives us how much is in each bowl. So that would be equals 8.5. Like you took the total amount and you divided it up into 5 to see how much goes into each bowl, and they told us that 8.5 ounces goes into each bowl. So this would be the equation. And I don't remember if that was the first one or the second one, but is that one of them?
Yeah. And then it equals.
Oh, and then there's a semicolon, right?
Right. So the first one is 1.7 ounces, and the second one is 42.
Okay, here's another notation thing. Oh, actually,
that little. Yeah.
Do you know how to solve this equation?
I was just gonna times 8.5 by 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right way.
That's the right way. Because, so just like when we had like x plus 3 equals 11, you do the opposite, minus 3, minus 3. Here, the operation that we're doing is dividing. So the opposite of division is multiplication.
Okay.
So you multiply both sides by 5, and sometimes you write it with parentheses, especially with decimals.
Oh, okay.
So then that cancels out 5. This is like a 5 over 1. There's a lot of like notation that goes along with this, but it's like 5 times x is the same, or divided by 1 times 5. That's the same thing as 5x over 5. The 5's cancel. If you have a 5 on top, this is the takeaway. If you have a 5 on top and a 5 on bottom, they cancel out. If you have the same thing on top and the same thing on bottom, they cancel out. And that's why you do like the opposite. So that cancels into 8.5 times 5. 0.5 times 5. It's 42.5. Is that one of the answers?
42.5. That was the one, yeah.
All right, that's the answer.
Equals 8.5. What that equals?
So that one was just doing the opposite operation of the division, and the opposite of division was the multiplication part, and that canceled it out.
So it's pretty much the same exact thing.
Same concept. Do the opposite operation. It's just a different operation. And this time it was division.
So this one, what is the value of x in the equation?
Okay, let me write that down.
All right, this will be a good one because I don't know how to do this.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, I'm gonna go to your screen.
Let me know when you can see it.
All right, go for it.
All right. So this one, people get confused where to put this negative. And again, a notation thing. Like negative 3/4 is the same thing as negative 3/4 is the same thing as 3 over negative 4. Like those all actually mean the same thing. The only thing that's different is if you have negative 3 and negative 4 where there's 2 of them, because they cancel out and it would become a positive. So on this one, yeah, there's a rule for that one, but if we ever get to a lesson for that, then we'll go over that. But for this, I usually like to move the negative into the top, just because I think it's easier than having it in the middle, because you don't know which one it goes to, and then it gets confusing later on when you try to decide. So I'm going to put the negative into the top, and it's going to be the same exact thing. So negative 3 over 4 equals x over 24. And with this, there's one fraction on this side and one fraction on this side. The way that you can solve this, you can cross multiply. And all that means is you take the bottom and multiply it to the top, take the bottom and multiply it to the top on the other side. So on one side, we're going to do negative 3 times 24, because I took this and I multiplied it over there. And then on the other side, I'm taking this and multiplying it. So I get 4 times x. You could also say x times 4. It's the same thing. Or you could say x 4. This, no one really writes it like that, so it looks weird to a lot of people. So, I mean, it's not wrong, but just nobody writes it like that. You can write it like that or like that. The way you're going to see it, though, is like that anytime you do number times a variable. Anyway, so you cross multiply, and then to get the x all by itself, here, this is multiplication. So you do the opposite operation, which is division, and you got to do it to both sides. So I have x here. Oh, and then there's order of operations. I'm just going to do the top first. So negative 3 times 24. Who's that? 24 is 72. So negative 72.
And you're only doing that because they're in the little circle, the little freaking quotations, right?
Yeah. So.
That's the order of operations, right? You do.
Yeah, you could do everything. First. So like when you're dividing something on the top and then something on the bottom, the way that you do it is take care of everything on the top first, and then if there's like multiple stuff on the bottom, I'm making this up, then you take care of everything on the bottom next, and then once it's one number on the top and one number on the bottom, then you actually divide. So like here, do everything in the top. There's not anything to do on the bottom, so I'm just going to copy that down. And now I have one number in the top, one number in the bottom. Now I can just divide. What's 72? Negative 72 divided by 4 is negative 18. So that's one way to solve when there's one fraction equal to another fraction. If it's like, well, we'll get there when we get there. But one fraction equal to another fraction, you can cross multiply. Just means multiply the bottom and then do the opposite operation. Here is 4 times x, so we divide by 4. Is x equals negative 18 one of the answers?
So here it's just negative 18. It doesn't have the x or anything.
Okay, yeah, then that's same thing. I think the question then is asking like, what is x equal, or
yeah, what is the value?
What is the value of x? Yeah.
This ain't even the math you thought, right? You thought like
No, I taught this. I taught this in Florida. Yep.
What grade was that?
12th grade.
9th? 12th grade?
Yeah. I don't even remember what Math for College Readiness. That's what this was called. All right. 3/5 of the members of the Spanish club are girls. There are a total of 30 girls in the Spanish club. Which statements can be used to solve for x, the total number of members in the Spanish club? Select 3 options. Ooh. Which statements can be used to solve for x, which is the total number of members in the Spanish club? Hmm. All right, give me a second.
I like that though too.
Can you see, like, when you're looking at my screen, you can't see your own screen, can you?
No, I can go back and look at that one. That's what you mean, or
Okay, let me see if I could do something real quick.
I can shrink it, I guess, and see if I can
Wait,
open another
let
tab.
me try this first, and then we'll see. No. Okay. All right. 3/5 of the members. Here, let me share my screen.
Okay. Seems that there's a lot going on in this one.
Yeah. Can you still see my iPad? Can you still see that?
I see the blank sheet of paper. Yeah, there's nothing written on there.
Nothing. No squiggles.
Nothing. I can see the little arrow down below.
Okay. All right, that's not what about now? Squiggle?
Let's see. Yeah, I see it now.
Okay. All right, what does it say? It says 3/5 of the members of the Spanish club are girls. So here's the way that from doing this, from translating like word problems,
Yeah.
I'm going to say of, that means multiply. And then the thing that you don't know, the unknown, that's going to be x. So what's the thing that they're asking for? Like, what's the question asking for?
3/5 of total of 30 girls in a Spanish club. Which statement can be used to solve X? The total number of members in the Spanish club. Select 3 options.
So
It's
what
it's
is
asking me. What was it?
so what do you think x represents if that's the thing that you don't know that it's asking for?
The amount of girls in the club, right?
Let me see.
Which statement can be used to solve X?
So that's the total members, not
And
just
there's a
girls.
total of 30, right?
Yeah, so x here in this case, what it's asking for is the total members of the Spanish club. So number of members. It did mention something about girls, but it told you something about it.
A total of 30 girls in the Spanish club.
Yeah. So of, the word of means multiply. Whatever you don't know is x, and in this case, the number of members will be x. So that's what x is. And then what else did it say? 3/5. So there's that thing. 3/5 of the members of the Spanish club are girls. Okay. So let me write this down. 3/5 of the members of club, and then are or is, that means equals. So 3/5 of the members of the Spanish club are girls, right?
Yeah.
And then how many are girls? Does it say that?
Okay. Yeah, the 30 are there are a total of 30 girls in the
So
class.
there are 30 girls. Okay, so it says 3/5 of the members of the Spanish club are girls, and we know that there are 30 girls. So the way to translate this into an equation is to just leave 3/5 as 3/5. So 3/5 of changes to multiplication. So you can write it like this, or you can write it like this. I'm going to do it with parentheses. So 3/5 of the members of the club, that's what we don't know. So we're going to call that x. So let's multiply. 3/5 of the members of the club are translates to equals, and the number, it equals the number of girls, and the number of girls is 30. So this equation, maybe this, again, notation, you can write it like 3/5 times x equals 30, or you can write it as 3x all divided by 5 equals 30. This one's a lot. This one's definitely a lot.
Yeah, this one is a lot.
I could show you how to solve this one. Can you go back to a problem after, like, can you skip it and come back?
I'd have to choose it because the time. Yeah, I can go back. Yeah, we can go to the next one.
Okay, let's go to the next one, and then we'll go back to that one at the end.
All right, so the next one would be
Emmett solved the equation 5/12 equals negative x over 420 for x using the steps shown below. What was Emmett's error? So 5/12 equals negative x over 420. Okay. And then we've got 5/12 times 420 equals negative x over 420. X equals 175. Amit should have multiplied both sides of the equation by 5/12. Amit should have multiplied both sides of the equation by 12/5. The product of 5/12 and 4. Okay. The product of should have been. Okay. Let's switch.
sure.
So these are the steps that they took. Do you have an idea what went wrong? Something did go wrong. That's for sure.
Let me take a look. She did do the opposite, but
Yeah. Okay. So they did do the opposite. So here we're trying to get x by itself.
So it
This
should
is
have
the
been
confusing part again.
the
Let me.
420. I might
Yeah.
be wrong.
He should have multiplied by 420. Yeah, that's good. But here's the thing. So you could have a negative x. So it could be a negative x, like you move this to the top, or you could have negative 420 on the bottom, or you can leave it in the middle. And I think they chose to leave it in the middle, but then you have to kind of keep track of it. So here's the thing. If they put it in the top, let's consider it this way. Suppose they put it in the top and they're trying to get x by itself. Well, x has a negative, but it's also being divided by 420. So the opposite operation right now would be multiplying by 420. And that's what they do. If they leave the negative in the top, which means that cancels out. And then this would be like 420 over 1. And then you do 420 times 5 and 1 times 12. So 420 times 5, 2, 1, 0, 0, and then 12 on the bottom. Now it's just single numbers. Still negative x. Nothing on the bottom anymore. So 2,100 divided by 12 equals 175. Here's the problem. This is a negative x. They have a positive x here. A negative x is the same thing as a negative 1 times x, or a negative 1x, or a negative 1x. Like all those things mean the same thing.
Okay.
So x is not by itself all the way. It still has this negative 1 there. So to get it by itself, you do the opposite. This is multiplication here. So you would divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1. So the negative 1s cancel. 175 divided by negative 1 is negative 175. Now the x is finally by itself. That was the problem.
Well, that's what he did.
Yeah, it should have been negative 175.
Yeah, 175 now.
He could have, if he did it in the bottom, so like 5 over 12 equals x and negative 420. Could have done all the same things, except for to do the opposite. Instead of multiplying by regular 420, you'd multiply by negative 420 to both sides. And then a negative 420 times a positive 5, that would be negative 2100. The 12, the 12 is just 12, and it would be x equals negative 175. So which one says, which one's the answer on that one?
It should have multiplied both sides by the equation, or of the equation by 5/12. It should have multiplied both sides by 12/5. The product of 5/12 and 420 is not equal to 175. The product of 5/12 and negative 420 should have been the value of x. So that would be the last one.
Yeah.
Are you recording this stuff? Like on here? Is it?
So I'm recording it with QuickTime, and then I'll just like send you the video afterwards. I think if it works out. which shows how to solve the equation. 3 over 4x equals -6 for x in one step.
Awesome.
Do you have a guess on that one?
So the same, we got to get the x alone, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like a shortcut on this one. Here, let me share. All right. So the way they wrote it is kind of weird, which sucks because nobody really writes it like that when they're actually doing it. But I'm gonna make up a different problem. Let's do. Let's make it negative. All right, so it says, how do you solve this in one step? When there's a fraction multiplied by the variable, the one step way of solving it is to multiply by the reciprocal of the fraction. So the reciprocal just means you flip it over. So the reciprocal of this would be 6 over 5. That way you have a 6 on top and a 6 on bottom. So those cancel out. And a 5 on top and a 5 on bottom. So those also cancel out. But whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. And then anytime there's a whole number, it's the same thing as over 1. So
okay,
that's how to do it in one step, because this cancels with this, 5 cancels with the 5, and it leaves you with just x or 1x, or just the same thing, x. And then here you can multiply straight across the top, because nothing cancels perfectly there or there. Or here,
you don't have to cross over like the other way, the other side. You can just go straight up the top, straight up the bottom.
Right, yeah, you could do that on this side too. Here, I'll show you. So like,
It take long.
yeah, it takes longer. If you have the same thing on the top, same thing on the bottom, it cancels out. That's the shortcut. But if you wanted to do straight across the top, that's the actual rule. Straight across the top, straight across the bottom whenever you're multiplying. 6 times 5 is 30. And then 5 times 6 is also 30. And then again, we have the same thing on top, same thing on bottom. So that is the same thing as 1. And anytime you have like 1 times x, it's the same thing as like just plus 1 is the same as just 1. Well, 1x is the same thing as just x. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the shorter way to do it is if you have one thing on top and the same on bottom, it just cancels, and then cancels again. And then here, nothing really cancels, so then you just do it the long way, which would be negative 20 times 6. So that would be negative 120, I think. And then 1 times 5 is just 5. And then, since you have a whole number, regular, or like number by itself, now you can just divide. So 120 divided by 5 is 24. So negative 120 divided by 5 is negative 24. So that's how you solve that one in one step. The one step was this part. Can you relate that to what you see there?
Yeah. So I tried doing the same exact thing. So what I did, I the reciprocal or whatever. I flipped it and did the 4 divided by the 3. So that one zeroes out on the left side, right?
Yes.
And then I went and did the same to the other side, and I put the 1 underneath the 6. Oh, here's what I did wrong. Okay. So I did the 3/4 on both sides. I didn't flip it.
Yeah, you gotta flip it. That's the one step part. That's the shortcut.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's because I was wondering why the answer was wrong.
But I don't even think it asks you like for what the answer is. I think it's asking you about that step. So like, I think the way that they show it there is weird because nobody would actually write it like that.
Shows how to solve the equation.
Right. So like, I think what they're showing is this. Like normally you just write it on the left side because there's not enough room, but they put it in between there. Is that there?
Yeah, the one that you just wrote right here below.
Yeah.
It's not awesome. Yeah. So that's the one
that's the one that they're asking for. But the way you would actually do it is like this, and that's just in one step. The 2-step way is kind of writing it differently. We could get to that if we get a question like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Right. I see. I just got it wrong because I wrote it differently.
Okay. All right, what's the next one? Otto spent 3/4 of the money he saved on a new video game. If the video game cost $48, how much of the money did he have before he bought the game? Do you have any ideas on how you would just try and do this one?
I'm gonna give it a shot. See.
All right, I can screen share whenever you're ready. If you one more time, go for it. But
yeah. So I mean, I just did it the easy way. I didn't go and I just went to my calculator.
Yeah. What'd you get?
The answer would have been 192.
I actually didn't solve it yet.
Is that wrong?
No, I don't think so. Wait. So he spent.
Or I'm not sure.
You said 192 was how much he had before, right? How much did he have before?
Yeah. So he spent 3/4 of the money he had saved on a new video game.
Okay.
If the video game cost, so he's either that or 64, I guess.
Yeah, I think it might be the 64. So this is what I'm thinking. Like, So he has money
Yeah, so he spent-
before, right? What are the options that they
Yeah.
give us?
The options are 36, 64, 144, and 192.
Okay. So one way to solve this, like without writing an equation down, is to just look at this part and then try it with the answers. So it says 3/4 of the money he spent on the game, right? On the video game.
Mhm.
So if these are answers for how much he had before, if he had $36 before, and 3/4 of this was spent on the game, that's the same thing as asking, uh, what is 3/4 of $36? And the way to think about that, the way you can calculate that, is 3/4 times 36, because of translates to multiplication. So then if you did that, you could put the 36 over 1 and then just go straight across. 3 times 36 equals 108. And then 4 times 1 is 4. So 108 divided by 4. 27. So if he spent 3/4 of the money on the game, because that's how much the game cost, and he had 36 before, then the game should have costed 27, but that's not
27.
right. Yeah, so that one doesn't work. So then you could just try it with the next one.
Just
What is 3/4 of 30 or of 64? So 3/4
before.
of 64, and you just do that. So 64 times 3 is 192, and then 4 times 1 is 4, and so 192 divided by 4 is 48. So that's saying 3/4 of 64 is 48, and that's how much he spent on the game. So he had to have started with
64.
$64.
Got it.
I don't know if they if the lessons would try to get you to like write out an equation, but the equation would have
Sometimes they
been
try to.
yeah. The thing that they're asking about, this is the unknown part. Like how much did he have before he spent the money on the game? That's the unknown, and every time that the unknown is x, like that's your variable. So he spent 3/4 of his money on the game. So you would write down 3/4 of x. So it'd be multiplication. You could do x over 1, just like we did with that stuff. And then 3/4 of that money turned out to be 48. And then you just do 3, like multiply 3x equal or over 4 equals 48, and then solve from there. We could get to that when if there's a specific question for that, but that's how you would set it up: 3x over 4 equals 48. But let's go on to the next one. How much time do we got left?
On there, we got 16 minutes.
All right, let's see what else we can get. What is the value of x in the equation? Do you know how to solve this one?
No. I mean, I can give it a shot, but
So what if let me read it out. This is the same thing as saying 5.5 times x equals 17.6.
Okay, so I can do the negative 5.5 on the.
Here, let
Or this
me.
is not the same type.
Yeah, let me share my screen because this is important. Because this is where people mess up all the time.
Okay.
So you have the right idea. Like you want to do the opposite. Wait, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. You do want to do the opposite. I think what you're thinking of though is 5.5 plus x equals 17.6. Here you would do minus 5.5 minus 5.5.
Okay.
But we're not adding here, we're multiplying. So when there's
We'll
nothing in
divide.
between, we're multiplying. So what's the opposite operation of multiplication?
We're gonna do division.
Division. So then we're going to take both sides and divide it by whatever we want to get rid of. So divide by 5.5. Divide by 5.5. So you are doing the opposite. Whenever you're trying to solve an equation, you are doing the opposite. It's just sometimes you got to pay attention to the plus or the minus, or if it's written right next to, or dividing or whatever. And then do that.
So then that one's out, right? It will be so this one would be 3.2.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yep. Okay, so these ones. No, is a bitch. Ariel spent a total of 3.42 buying dried apricots from the bulk bins. So the total was 3.42. All right, I'm just writing that down. 3.42. Which were on sale for 2.85 per pound. So 2. What's that cost? 2.85 per pound. To the nearest tenth of a pound. So to the nearest 1 decimal place. To the nearest 1 decimal place, how many pounds of dried apricots did Ariel buy? Pounds purchased. Okay. What is the question asking you for?
Let's see. Ariel spent a total of $3.42 buying dried apricots from the bulk bins, which were on sale for $2.85 per pound, to the nearest tenth of a pound. How many pounds of dried apricots did Ariel buy?
So what's the question that they're asking for? What's the thing that they're trying to figure out?
Figure out how many pounds she bought, right?
Yeah, so that's going to be the unknown. That's going to be x. So if we're going to make an equation, that's going to be x that we're eventually going to solve for. So the unknown is always x. Per pound. Let me think. Okay. So say she buys 1 pound. How much is that going to cost? If that's the price per pound. If she buys 1 pound, how much will she have to pay?
$2.85, right?
$2.85. If she wanted to buy 2 pounds, how much would she have to pay? I'm gonna do my calculator.
$5.70.
Yeah. So, what are you doing to get that? Like, what
I
did
just
you
multiplied the
just multiply, right?
280.
So, that means to get for X pounds, something that we don't know, we could do 2.85. When we knew there was 1 pound, we could just multiply it by 1. When we knew there was 2 pounds, we could just multiply it by 2. Well, if we don't know how many pounds, X, we can just multiply this by X. And that's going to equal something. But they tell us what it equals. It's going to equal 3.42. Does that make sense?
Yeah, let me see. I don't want to just say yeah and then get mixed up.
They're asking us for how many pounds
You purchased.
Yeah, and I'm saying that number, or like whatever they're asking for, that's what you're gonna make. Like, you're the one saying, okay, I'm gonna make that my x value. And then I'm gonna try to make an equation. So x is the number of pounds purchased.
Okay.
If I know the number of pounds purchased, that's like the 1 or the 2 or the 3, then to calculate the total cost, all I'd have to do is take this times the number of pounds. Like, if I wanted 5 pounds, I'd just take this times the 5. That's if I want the total cost. If I want to calculate the total cost, I just take this times the number of pounds. However, I don't know the number of pounds. It's x. It's some variable. So mathematically, I could write that as just the cost per pound. And if I knew x, I would multiply it. Well, I don't know x, but I can still write it down and say that I'm multiplying. And I know that if I take this times the number of pounds, that will give me the total that it'll cost. But then they already told me the total is going to be 3.42. So even though I don't know the number of pounds, they did tell me what the total would be. And I know how to calculate the total because it's just the cost per pound times the number of pounds. And that's how I can write down this equation. 2.85x equals 3.42. Those ones are hard, like, to piece out from the word problems. So that would just take, I think, a bunch to practice. But do you think you could solve that from there, like we did on the last one?
Yeah,
try it, and then I'll see if you're right, because I'm going to do it too.
I'm trying to log back into this crap stuff. All right, yeah, I can try to do this one here. So I'd divide the 2.85, right? That's the same type of...
Yep, same type of problem. Let me know what you get.
1.2.
Yep.
It's pretty simple, man. It just seems so hard when I don't know when you don't know. I guess.
Yeah, you gotta like. The hard part about that one is setting it up, and once you got it set up, then it's not too bad. But setting up will take practice. I feel like.
All right, this thing kicked me out. I'm trying to get back into.
Does it stop the time if it does that? Do you know?
No, it just around this time it acts up and it logs you out. I don't know what, and then it starts acting.
Like this time of night?
Yeah, it's done it to me a few times around like 9:30.
Huh.
I don't know why.
It sucks.
This has trouble logging in.
What do you remember? What question that was? Was that like 8 or 7?
I think it was 8. Hopefully, it didn't shut it out for looking at it. You know,
Right.
probably did, but it's fine because I need to learn more. You know.
So what's the title of this class? Like what is it?
Ingenuity. So it's like a high school program to get my high school diploma.
Oh, okay. Cool. At the end of it, do you have to take like a final or something or
From the courses that I've done, like in English, I'll do like at the end of every course, I have to do a test. Usually, you have to go into class, but COVID kind of messed everything up. So
have you taken a test yet?
I've taken the English ones, yeah.
And they just have you do it online?
Well, now, yeah, they'll unlock it for you. And you get three tries. After the third fail, it's kind of like pretty easy. After the third fail, then they want to see what they want to see what notes you have written down.
Interesting.
And then they'll help you if you get like a 68 or something, and you got a lot of notes written down. They'll try to bump you up.
That's cool.
Oh, it's cool, yeah. I mean, because they get paid for having people graduate. The more people that fail, they're not making money.
Right, they don't get anything.
Yeah, they're failing. Here I got put me back in. So yeah, and I'm telling you, there's like a Brainly app. You can basically go on there and pay monthly, and it gives you the answer for everything.
What?
But I mean, you're not gonna learn anything. Yeah, like that one. But my teacher gave me this one class. I forget what it is, but that one class you can do it, and it helps you. It doesn't give you the answers. But the Brainly one
just gives you all the answers.
It's pretty much. It just gives you like the course, and I'm sure multiple courses.
Oh wait, this is go back to number 8.
Well, that was the 1.2, I think.
Yeah, did you answer that one?
Yeah.
All right, let's go back. I don't know. Which one do you want to do? We got a minute and a half.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, this one we solved, like I thought, right? But
which statement can be used to solve for x, the total number of members in the Spanish club? Oh, because there's multiple of them. So, like, you'd solve a bunch of them and then see which one it is. Oh, this one. Can you go to number 10?
Yeah.
All right, maybe this one. Evelyn bought 8.4 gallons of gas for $23.94. Which equation can be used to determine the price of each gallon of gas? This is the same 8.4 gallons times the number of gallons of gas. It's the same way that we set up the other one. If you had to guess in 50 seconds, which one would you guess?
Let's see, I got a lot of time, right?
Yeah, and the hint is that it's the same type of like thing that we set up for the answer that we got 1.2. How did we set up the equation for the other one? What did it look like? Did you write it down?
Yeah, it was a 285x because that was the price, right?
And right, it was 285 per pound times the total number of pounds equals the total. So here, it'd be the first one. Because 8.4 times the total number of gallons, which is X, and then equals the total. What do we get on this one? Is it 70?
I got it wrong, but we can go overlook it because the time ran out anyways.
All right.
We can just do this one and call it. Right?
Yeah. Let me copy down the numbers real quick. Do you remember what the numbers were?
I know it was 8.4. Oh, the actual, and I just had it. It was 8.4, and the price was like 23 point. I didn't even write it down.
It was 8.4.
I can go look at it.
Per gallon?
So it was 8.4. Yeah, I got it here.
$8.4 gallons of gas. 8.4 gallons.
23.94.
And then total.
So it would have been the top one, huh? Yeah, that's.
Yep. Yeah.
It was the same exact thing. I wasn't even focusing on them. I was looking at my paper.
So, like, on this one, again, with the word problems, whenever it asks you, like, the question on that one was, how can you figure out the price per gallon, right? Is that what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing that it's asking you for, which is the unknown thing, that's always going to be X. So in this case, X was the price per gallon. So then, like, 8.4 gallons. If you bought 8.4 gallons for $2 per gallon, all you would need to do is take the $2 times the number of gallons, right?
Yeah.
Or if it was if the price was like $3.85 per gallon and you bought 8.4 gallons, then you just do 385 times that. Even though we don't know the price per gallon, we can still write down something. 8.4 times whatever the per gallon price is. That will give us the total. And then they tell us already that the total is going to be 23.94. And then they weren't even asking you to solve it. It was just writing down the equation. But if you were to solve this, what would you have to do? Do you remember? For this type of equation?
Yeah, we would do the divide, the 8.4 divided by 8.4, and then we go to the right.
Yep.
Divide. And then it was like 280 something, I believe.
Yeah. So 23.94. Oh.
2.85.
Shoot, I can't even type it in. 23.94. 285. Yep. Hey, that was the same number as the other one. Yeah, so I think this lesson, which it was trying to like do a lot of solving with multiplication and division, and then also with like word problems. So uh, yeah, okay. So it said that you have, or like you were assigned a lesson because we didn't score high enough, right?
It gave me a lesson, but we scored. I mean, that's. I would still like to go over the lesson with you.
Okay.
I'd say next time because I mean, I got the hint of it, but like you said, some of the way they word things, and then I might get them wrong if I go do the test on my own.
That sounds
Just
good.
gonna.
So next time you have a lesson that we could go over. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
When you want to do that?
Tomorrow, if I'm able to, I'm gonna start doing some of it on my own in the morning, or if I get a chance at work, and then I'll once I get to a certain part that I'm stuck at, or they throw something new at me,
Yeah, sure.
or if I just didn't remember I can't get it, then I'll contact you. Yeah, I don't know if you have time tomorrow, whatever, we can once a week, whatever you want.
I can do pretty like for right now, pretty much whenever. If something comes up, I'll tell you. But uh, for right now, yeah, tomorrow, like everything's free. Um, and whenever you want to, no one's coming over tomorrow. So like, if you want to do it right when you get home or whenever, just let me know.
Okay, I'll text you. And you want me to pay you now? I feel like $10 is nothing, dude.
Don't worry about it. We'll at like the end of a couple sessions, we'll see.
Okay, okay, cool.
Cool, man.
All right, but don't be too nice with the with the money.
No, don't worry about
I
it.
mean, no, don't worry about it, man. You're the one teaching me.
All right.
I just want to make sure.
So tomorrow, do you know what time or
Yeah, I'll try to. We can do it a little earlier, like 6:30 or something.
that
Okay.
works?
Or I'll let you like 7. If seven's usually 7. Yeah, 7's fine with me.
Okay. Well, if
But
it changes, let me
if I
know.
get home. Okay. Yeah, I'll text you for sure.
All right, man. This is I'm excited. I think this is cool, and I'm hoping that you do well. When do you think you're gonna try and take the test? Just whenever
Well,
you
this is
finish
gonna
going
be
through
like
this stuff.
so like at the end of this course, they're gonna give me a test, right? And this is only CR3, so that's why I thought it was because I did the last course on my own and was still I knew some of it, but I couldn't. Sometimes I would fail on the question.
Mm.
So like at the end of the course that they're giving me, they're gonna give me a test. Once I pass that one, then they're gonna give me another course. The last course that I have to do through math will be algebra.
All right.
So this is pre-algebra. So yeah, that's what I'm going to, and that's I have to do a whole course on algebra and pass.
Right.
So
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know how far from algebra this is, but it's got to be far. Right? I heard that algebra is kind of the same.
Uh,
Maybe.
it might be. Well, I don't know. I don't know how far it is or how they like do the pacing, but
I
I
don't
think
think it's too advanced.
yeah, I think it'll be good. I think as long as you do it consistently, I think we'll be okay.
That's what it is. Yeah, I just got to keep it in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it every day,
All
or
right,
at
man.
least 3 to 4 times a week or something.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you, Jake.
however often we both can, I'm down.
All right, cool. Thanks, brother.
Yeah, I'll
Talk
talk
to
to
you
you
tomorrow.
tomorrow then.
All right, have a good night, man.
You
Thanks,
too.
man.
Bye. So he's